48 light years from here, there is a planet. And it has air, not a guess, not a model. Measured. For the first time in history on a rocky world in the right place to hold liquid water. But how do you weigh the atmosphere of a planet you cannot even see? Is there life on it? And how many more are out there? By the end of this video, you'll know all three answers. When scientists say another Earth, they mean three specific things. First, size. Too small, and the planet's gravity can't hold on to an atmosphere. It leaks away into space. As large as Jupiter, and there's no surface at all. Just gas all the way down. Second, it has to be rock. Solid ground you could stand on. And third, this is the one that matters most. It has to orbit at exactly the right distance from its star. Too close and water boils off. Too far and it freezes solid. That narrow band is called the habitable zone. The place where water can stay liquid. Because every living thing we have ever found needs it. So how do you see a world 48 light years away? You don't. Not directly, not one of them. Here's what astronomers actually do. They watch a star, continuously for months. And when a planet crosses in front of it, the starlight dims. Barely. A fraction of a percent. But it can be measured with extraordinary precision. It's called the transit method. And from the size of that dip, you can calculate the size of the planet. Then there's the part that still sounds impossible. As the planet crosses, some of that starlight passes through its atmosphere. Different gases absorb different colors. Split the light apart and you can read which ones are there. We are reading the air of a world 48 light years away, from right here. Which brings us to LHS 1140b. It sits in the constellation Cetus, 48 light years from Earth. About 1.5 times our width and 5.5 times our mass. A class of world we call a super-Earth. Bigger than us, still rock. It orbits a red dwarf. A star smaller and cooler than the Sun, so its habitable zone sits much closer in than ours does. In July 2026, astronomers using the Magellan telescopes in Chile caught something rare. 2 planets crossing the face of that star at the same moment. And in the light passing through, they found helium, slowly escaping the planet into space. Now, a planet losing its atmosphere sounds like bad news. It isn't. Because for anything to escape, there has to be an atmosphere there to escape from. That was the proof. And here's what makes it remarkable. That atmosphere has survived for more than 3 billion years. Long enough for something to begin. A rocky planet in the habitable zone with a confirmed atmosphere. It had never been done before. Now forget everything you've just heard, because the next part is what almost nobody knows. Every world we've talked about, LHS 1140b, TRAPPIST-1, Proxima, orbits a red dwarf. These stars are small, cool, which means their habitable zone is tucked in tight, and any planet warm enough for liquid water is orbiting dangerously close. And red dwarfs are not calm stars. They erupt, violently and often. Flares far more powerful than anything our Sun produces. In 2019, Proxima Centauri released one of the most extreme flares ever recorded. In seconds, it brightened by thousands of times in ultraviolet light. Now put a planet right next to that. Every eruption strips away a little more atmosphere, peeling it off into space. There's a second problem. The planet that occurs is like the tidally locked. One face permanently toward the star. Endless day on one side, endless night on the other. Which is exactly why LHS 1140b matters so much. 3 billion years of that, and it's still held on to its air. LHS 1140b isn't alone. Start with TRAPPIST-1, about 40 light years away. 7 planets orbit it, all 7 roughly the size of Earth. 3 of them sit inside the habitable zone. Outside our own solar system, it is the most intensively studied planetary system we have. Then Proxima Centauri b. This one is special for a simple reason. It is the closest planet to Earth that we know of. 4 light years, on a cosmic scale next door. Discovered in 2016, it's slightly heavier than Earth, and it too orbits inside its star's habitable zone. And third, Kepler 452b.
Every other world on this list circles a red dwarf. Kepler 452b doesn't. It orbits a star very much like our own Sun, on an orbit close to a year, which is why it earned a nickname, Earth's cousin.
So we've found the planets. How would we ever know if something lived on one? This is where a genuinely beautiful idea comes in. Biosignatures. Earth's atmosphere is roughly 21% oxygen. But oxygen is violently reactive. Left alone, it bonds with everything around it and disappears within a few million years. So why is ours still here? Because something keeps making it. Plants, algae, bacteria, life refilling the tank continuously for 2 billion years. Which means if we detect a planet with an atmosphere full of oxygen, something down there is probably alive. Methane works the same way. So does water vapor. The James Webb Telescope is searching for exactly these signatures right now. The Nancy Grace Roman Telescope, launching next, will find thousands more worlds to check. And so far, nothing confirmed. Not on a single one. We're still looking. Which leaves the question you've probably been holding since the beginning. Will we go there? LHS 1140b is 48 light years away. Light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, 190 kilometers every second, takes 48 years to make that trip. So how fast are we? The fastest object human beings have ever built is the Parker Solar Probe, 690,000 kilometers an hour. At that speed, LHS 1140b is 75,000 years away. Voyager 1, launched in 1977, now drifting beyond our solar system, would take more than 800,000. With today's technology, we are not going. Not close, but here's the thing. We don't need to. From right here, through a telescope, we can already read that planet's air. And there's an idea on the horizon. The light sail. A laser pushing a gram-scale craft to 20% of light speed. If it works, Proxima Centauri is 20 years away. 30 years ago, we knew of no planets outside our solar system. None. Not one. Today, we've confirmed more than 5,000. Some are rock, some sit at the right distance for water, and now one of them has a confirmed atmosphere that has lasted 3 billion years. Are we alone? Human beings have asked that question for as long as there have been human beings. For all of that time, it was philosophy. It isn't anymore. For the first time, we're holding the instruments that could answer it, and the answer might arrive within our lifetime. Subscribe for more from the universe. See you in the next one.